So today I want to do a quick reading from my back porch, literally. This is my view. Look how pretty. That's my little grill, but look at the forest. I'm literally immersed. Me and my gray roots are super immersed in the forest this morning. We're gonna get this situation handled next week. But I wanted to do a reading today. I'm gonna be at Asheville Raven and Crone today from 12 to 6. I think that from 4 to 6 I've got stuff open if you're looking for an appointment with me. Anyway, though, Mercury Retrograde has been a fucking bitch, and I will be honest with that. It's interesting, this time last year when Mercury was in retrograde for me, you know, it was a time, it's usually a time for like all the creepers to come out, right? It's like anyone who doesn't belong in your life, you know, long term, will make their way back to you during Mercury retrograde. And for me, this time, it's not that. This theme feels very much to me, sitting in discomfort is the theme. It's almost like in any aspect of your life where you feel like you have to sit still and you have to sit in discomfort, that's what's happening, you know, like I feel like across the board for everybody, you know, and what I'm getting is that we're all sitting in discomfort and we're being forced during this retrograde to kind of like sit still and feel it. You know, when Merc Retro first hit for me, it was, my truck gave out, like my brakes and my rotors gave, and I was like, cool. I waited and I let the truck sit for a couple days until I could like pull together the funds. And then my computer went and it was like the first thing. And right now I'm writing a book and I had to basically save, you know, my progress on the book and transfer it. And luckily my partner Sam has been letting me use his computer, but it's like my comfort zone was in my laptop. I'm creating workshops, like I'm doing all these things, but I'm being forced to sit still, you know, while the retrograde does its thing, does its shady thing, by the way. But today I wanted to pull some runes. I have the Grid of Fortune deck, which is so beautiful. I love this runic deck, and it only comes out a couple times a year, maybe like once a year actually. But I'm doing a 3-throw and I'm reading from right to left, and I haven't, so I did the pull right here, and I haven't checked out. I'm actually gonna place, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna place everything right here. Lighting is much different, but I don't care, because my hand was about to give out. But in your current energy, Manaz. Now, I really like this. Manaz is sitting in your higher self. You know, currently, for me, all right, so right now, all my 3D trappings, I guess if you will, from my truck to my laptop, which my truck is fixed, you know, my laptop's like out to Apple for a couple weeks, and I'm like, cool, right? But if you feel like you're being forced to sit in the 3D or forced to sit in an otherwise really uncomfortable situation, now's the time to go into your higher self, you know. And on this card, I really like that, but Manaz is Tyr, which is, with the runic deck, with the runic alphabet, there are 3 god and goddesses that rule the deck. Tyr is the god of war, which he rules confidence, you know, going to battle, that kind of feeling of like, you know, being unfuckable with. Heimdall is another god. He is one of my spirit guides, but he's the protector. And of course, Freya, who's the goddess of love, relationship, fertility, all those things. But Manaz is about aggressively going into your higher self and taking this time to really sit in it, to sit, you know, it's like if you are uncomfortable, now's the time to consult, you know, get out of your brain and go up further, you know, go up to your higher consciousness, do divination, meditate, you know, kind of like see, all right, well, I'm being forced to sit still. What should I be learning from this situation? Your challenge is Sohuilo, which is the sun. Look how beautiful that card is. But basically, Sohuilo is about finding wholesomeness. It's like, to me, when I am doing that, when I'm embracing that feeling, I'm going out into nature, which is exactly why I'm doing this reading on my back porch, because I feel good. You know, it's like every time I come home, I'm not even in my house at this point, I come out and I sit out my back deck and I just soak in. It's like a forest bathe. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm going out into nature and I'm like in a waterfall or something. But Sohuilo is find a way to play. That is your challenge. Instead of like sinking into that victim mentality, that like, woe is me, that like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, and submitting to the overwhelm, do something about it. That's kind of like really hard to do as well. And then lastly, oh, that's sweet. Is that all Tyr? No, Heimdall's I at. So the outcome of that is Opila or Othala in this deck. That's what that is. But it's like tapping into your divine feminine. You know, when you are, you know, the one thing with Mercury retrograde is that it usually rules over the 3D. It's like, you know, technology, logistical, machinery, like all of those things like that are ruled, you know, where anything could go wrong. That's all 3D issues. But this reading is telling me go into the 5D. You know, it's like you have control over, you know, it's like you may be panicking here, but if you're going up here with Manaz, you know, going into your higher self, tap into your spirituality, tap into what makes you feel good, you know, be mindful, all of those things. Like when you're sitting still in this discomfort, this is the time to go up there. Meditate, do whatever it is that you need to do. Ritual, right? Now is the time to tap into whatever craft ritual that you're in. The challenge though is doing something wholesome, not succumbing to coping mechanisms while all of these things are going sideways. And then the outcome of that is coming into your divine feminine, which whenever, you know, whenever I tell clients or even when I'm doing workshops, I tell people the more that you practice intuition, the more that you go into your higher self, the more that you raise your vibration, you are really working that muscle of your divine feminine. You are coming into a place where you will start living more intuitively. You know, you will, you'll still be tethered to like your day-to-day life, but as someone who practices divination almost daily, as someone who reads for people, as someone who is in her higher self, you know, almost on a daily basis, because it's literally what I do for a living, you start to notice a shift in the way that you see things, in your perspective. And Othala or Opila, your divine feminine worth, self-worth, will benefit from this time. So for me, in this time of Mercury retrograde, which will be done by, I think, the 25th, we're also supposed to have a really kick-ass full moon, I believe on the 19th into the 20th. It's supposed to be a blue moon. It's the sturgeon moon. So get ready for that because it's also for manifesting. But in the meantime, try to sit in this discomfort and use it as a time to go a little bit higher, taking yourself out of your brain and going into your higher self, your divine feminine, your inner child. You know, your vibration will raise for it. And in the meantime, you know, it's like getting out into nature is like all a good thing. It's all really good for you. But hang in there, and I hope everyone has a good weekend. Take care.